Good evening, customers of Knowhere Games and Comics, with the very late live stream for the comics that are on final order cutoff for this Monday, January 27th, 2020. If you're not familiar with the final order cutoff, it is a wonderful thing we as comic shops do every Monday, where we finalize our orders for comics that are coming out 3 weeks from now. Some awesome comics that will be coming out on that date, which happens to be February 19th, 2020. If you want to finalize your comic orders with us by Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we can make sure that you get, no matter what you want, any specific cover, any variant, any amount of comics. So say you want the B cover of Firefly, or you want 10 copies of the upcoming Batman Beyond. If you get those orders to us by Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are happy to get them for you. And you can always follow along with us as we do our final order cutoff announcements on previewsworld.com/finalordersdue. I'm sure the wonderful George Sangster or Ken will have a comment somewhere in the somewhere in the comments with the link to previewsworld.com/finalordersdue, or you can just type that in yourself and join us that way. And then if you have any comics that you would like to add to your pull list or special order, just give us a heads up by either emailing us at knowheregamesandcomics@gmail.com, messaging us here on Facebook, leaving a comment down below in the comments, or otherwise giving us a ring or swinging by the store and adding it to your pull sheet. Now, with that being said, let me please introduce my wonderful silent guest, Richard.
I got a cookie stuck in my mouth.
Yeah, it really dried out on my
really
throat.
Stuck in the back there.
Yeah, man, cookies will do that to you. No brand coverage there.
That's why I'm like, sorry.
But yeah. So if you haven't noticed from the previous Final Order Cutoff videos, we do this live. We have not really fully looked over the list of comics that are on Final Order Cutoff. Thank you. Oh, wow. George and Ken both got the link up at the same time. That is some wonderful timing.
Ken won.
Yeah.
We'll give that one to Ken.
Yeah, so you can click on the link below, previewsworld.com/finalordersdue, to see all the items that are on Final Order Cutoff. We're just going to highlight some of the better ones that we really want to reach out to you all on, because most of these things are going to be continuing series that you're rather familiar with. You know that Batman's been going for 87 issues, so issue 88 should not surprise any of you. But once again, if you have any requests, please shoot a message to us or leave a comment below with anything you want, and we will make sure that it happens. So, shall we dive directly into the items on Final Order Cutoff?
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And what publisher should we start off with? Richard.
Boom.
Boom.
Boom, boom, boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah, well, Dynamite's much lower down.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
But let's skip to it.
Yeah, so Boom has some Firefly covers that are not yet visible on FOC, so that makes things ever so interesting, as always, as we also hit Heartbeat, Lumberjanes, Red Mother, one of my favorite horror series ever, and Something is Killing the Children, getting a ton of later printings. In fact, 6th printing for number 1, 2nd printing on 3, 4, and 4th printing on number 2. A lot of beautiful covers. Oh my God, I'm going to buy all these late printing covers. These are beautiful.
And there's also a trade paperback for the entire thing.
Yeah, you cannot go wrong. Well, I don't know if it's the entire thing, actually.
Well, it was only 4 issues.
Well, I believe it, yeah.
So far.
Yeah, so the trade paperback is going to be the first 5 issues, but there's 6 issues. Like, it might be an ongoing, which I hope, because it has been an incredible series.
I was thinking the same thing as I was staring at these covers. It's like, I already have them, but the covers are so awesome. Wish they'd just used them on later issues.
Yeah. So, Boom, a lot of continuing things that most of you guys are going to be aware of, but if you haven't hopped on Something That's Killing the Children, make sure now to get your orders in. We do have current inventory of the current printings, but these new covers are so beautiful, I'm going to have to repurchase them. This is amazing. But on that note, then, let's move on to Dark Horse. Dark Horse has a lot of paraphernalia, especially if you're a fan of Cyberpunk 2077, so make sure you get those orders in. But the big one I want to talk about is the new comic series Bang. Did I show you the preview of Bang?
You did not.
Oh,
You're
it looks
hoarding
amazing.
It for yourself.
Yeah, it's a new Matt Kent series. Matt Kent, also the same guy who's bringing us the wonderful Folklords over at Boom that we're both enjoying. But it is a James Bond-esque story with all sorts of craziness involved. It is definitely a constant mind-bending twist of who's who, who's killing what, you know, people of different aesthetics. It's a crazy one. I mean, but it has that classic James Bond feel I actually am really excited about. So Wilfredo Torres doing the interiors makes it a rather nice looking book too. I would highly advise everyone get a order in on this. This looks
I'm definitely going to check this one out. It looks interesting, and Dark Horse is definitely back with a vengeance. Their later issues or more recent issues have been really good. So
yeah. And there's a great trailer that you can check out on previewsworld.com, and we'll have on our Facebook wall later, probably tomorrow. So if you haven't seen it already, make sure you watch that trailer. Looks awesome. Great Matt Kindt B cover on there. Matt Kindt always surprising me because he is unquestionably a writer, but he surprises me with his quality of art every time.
New Hellboy.
Yeah, Hellboy and the BPRD return Effie Kolb.
This is going to be a 2-part, so it's only going to be 2 issues, which is cool.
Mike Mignola actually writing it fully himself, which is a unique one.
What is this one taking place in? So it's years after he banished the Crooked Man, Hellboy returns to Appalachia when a young psychic warns Tom Farrell of a looming danger. Let's see.
Yeah, Crooked Man's house no longer empty as and threats both new and old simmer in the Virginia woods. Interesting.
Cover A is awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoy Zach Howard, who is doing the interiors A cover, but Mike Mignola, who is writing the book entirely, not being assisted or just plotting like he often is with Hellboy these days, has a great B cover that is just a stunning piece. I mean, as every Mignola piece is involving Hellboy. But yeah, so definitely time to get your pre-orders in. If you're Umbrella Academy fans, you should know that Season 2 will be coming to Netflix soon. So get ahead of that with some of these really amazing things with the Umbrella Academy crest, both as a keychain and a magnet if you want to grab those, as well as Hazel and Cha-Cha items. Should be fun. Skull Digger and Skeleton Boy has been selling out consistently. It is part of the Black Hammer universe. It's probably Jeff Lemire's best spin-off of the Black Hammer universe, and issue number 3 on Final Order Cutoff with 2 amazing covers. Then we hit
DC. So DC's got a lot going on. Most of them are continuing from where we currently are. Aquaman 57 going on to Batman 89.
Yeah,
Batman's really heating up, and
I can't believe it is. I've been ordering more for the James Tynion run than I was for the Tom King run, and we're selling out. I mean, we're just actively selling out, and it's good.
I really enjoyed the second issue of Tynion's run so far. It's really starting to heat up. The action's really killer. The writing's good. Artwork's fantastic as always. I think 89 we might finally get the reveal of that new villain. So
hopefully,
it's just kind of the way it's teased in this, the way that the solicit's teased. I think we might see more of who that is. So
yeah, and for those of you who are loving the CW Arrowverse shows, you know that they recently had their Crisis on Infinite Earths. And as such, we recently, just last week, had a Crisis on Infinite Earths giant that reprints classic Crisis stories, as well as has a brand new story that ties into that Arrowverse Crisis event. And the second part, a 24-page story by Marv Wolfman, who actually acted in the TV series as well, as Mark Guggenheim, the man behind all of that, is going to be coming out. So make sure you get your FOC in on that. That's going to be a big one. And if you somehow missed it, come in and grab that number 1. We still have a few on the shelf. That's going to be a big one. Then we get to something really dark and crazy.
Deceased continues with Unkillables. This is going to be a 3-part series. This is issue 1 with 3 variant covers, 2 of them on cardstock, and all 3 are amazing. But this is basically what happened with all the villains in the DC universe during the Deceased saga.
Yeah. Made more interesting, it is Tom Taylor back writing, so you know it's going to be good quality. We're getting the Zombie Matina cover and the horror covers by Yasmin Putri once again. Like, oh my god, that first horror cover of Wonder Woman is just the most hauntingly wicked thing I can imagine. But yeah,
I would not be able to decide which cover to go with.
I'm gonna end up with all 3. I can tell you that outright. But all sorts of exciting stuff there, so make sure you get your orders in on that, specifically if you want specific covers, because yes, as always, those horror covers are going to run fast. Should be good. We're getting some great dollar reprints, and you love talking about dollar reprints.
Getting some Flash Rebirth. That's
Jeff Johns' big return of Barry Allen for just $1.
Yep, fun story there. And then New Teen Titans number 2.
I hate to say this is an issue I don't own. I mean, as much as I love New Teen Titans, and at one point I did own it, I was an idiot and stole my copy, and now it's just becoming more and more expensive. New Teen Titans number 2, first appearance of Deathstroke. Crazy to see that for $1. Like, I will buy multiple copies because I'm an idiot over there. That sounds cool.
What's insane is how these it's kind of taken place with the facsimiles, but before the facsimiles started hitting, some of these true believers were selling for well above $1.
Oh yeah,
as time went on, and they ran
ASM
out
300
of,
first printing that one goes for a good amount.
AF-15.
Yeah.
You know, some of these that are key, amazing stories that you can get reprinted for $1 when they sold out at stores. Started going on eBay like crazy, and it's just like, oh wait, someone's paying.
I hear you can still get a Walking Dead #1 image first $1 reprint for about like $6.
Yeah, it's insane.
So here's a big one I want to talk about. I had the advantage of reading this. Flash Forwards issue 6. It's the final issue of Flash Forward, and I know this is a weird thing for me to be pushing on you guys in FOC, but in the least spoilerish way I can say this, if you at all read Doomsday Clock, the big DC sequel to Watchmen, you need Flash Forward 6. You probably need issues 1 through 5 of Flash Forward, but there is a huge piece in Flash Forward 6 that's going to set up a lot of things going forward, as well as defining Wally West's role. It has a great Inyuk Lee cover that features Wally West on Metatron's share, but this is a big one. Get your orders in. That's going to be a crazy thing. A lot of continuing things, most of which, I mean, I don't feel we need to really point out, but you can always follow along at previewsworld.com/finalordersdue.
We do have a new Hill House issue, or title coming out called Plunge. This one looks very interesting to me.
Actually written by Joe Hill again. This is another one by Joe Hill.
This is the aftermath of a devastating tsunami and exploration of a vessel known as the Derleth begins, but the thing is that the ship appears in the Bering Strait, and it's been missing for 40 years. This one got my interest. The covers are phenomenal, and I did peek ahead the other day at the other upcoming covers. This one, if they're anything close to the what the covers are showing, it's going to be a true horror on basically a ghost ship.
Yeah, that B cover by Gary Frank, I'm just getting a look at right now. The same Gary Frank who brought us Doomsday Clock. So
yeah, the B cover is fantastic as well. I'm a big scuba diver and love sharks and stuff. That one jumped. That's what actually caught my attention, and then I looked at the A cover. This is interesting because DC being Warner Brothers, HBO Max, and they're going to be putting a lot of stuff on there. I think the Hill House production stuff is perfect for the HBO Max.
I think we're hitting a new age of horror, both in comics and television right now. So this would be a perfect thing to pick up. So this could be a really big speculation grab. Yeah. But also, Stuart Immonen is an amazing artist. I absolutely love Stuart Immonen's artwork. So having him in doing interiors is definitely going to be a big thing too. This might be the best drawn interiors in one of the Hill House books so far.
Yeah, this looks great, and like I said, if it's a speculation thing, this one would be my pick. Be the first one to go onto TV. Yeah,
I'm super hyped. I'm all in on Plunge. Let's see what else we got coming out from DC. A lot of continuing things. Once again, we're wrapping up Titans Burning Rage. Teen Titans, its 39th issue. Wonder Twins hits its final issue. You get a Swamp Thing Giant that is going to have a new story by Mark Russell, the same gentleman who brings us Second Coming and countless other titles, Red Sonja. So this will be interesting things. But let's move on to Dynamite. You finally get your boom part.
Dynamite. There we go.
Now, Dynamite we never go too in depth on because Dynamite is known for their variants. They put some of the sexiest variants out there on the market for all their books, and they have tons of covers. But so this is where we really stress you need to go check out previewsworld.com/finalordersdue. Click the link in the comments and take a look at this, and make sure you tell us which covers you want for this order.
I'm going to pause you because you're going to talk about that Red Sonja one. I'm going to go get the preview book that came out last week.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, sorry.
So no. Yeah. So Red Sonja: Age of Chaos is an interesting thing. It brings back the Chaos universe, which Dynamite has been trying to do bit by bit. Against Red Sonja, it has actually a really interesting story on there, and the Derek Chew monochrome version is amazing. And yeah, we can see the monochrome from issue #1 there. We still have it available, so if you haven't grabbed it, I highly recommend it. I think we've sold out of every other version of that cover, so that's the last one in the shop.
So the reason I grabbed this is because this issue is kind of the preview of the full image that's going to be on issue 2, and they do a monochrome as well as a color. Is there a sketch one as well?
Yes.
I mean, if you like that,
yeah. So the
full image is even better.
Yeah, that'll be the cover C on there. Oh, Lucille Perillo did an amazing cover. Qua did a great cover. Ali Garza did an amazing cover. There's an awesome cosplay. Hedrick has a bonus cover that just popped in, as well as Jonathan Lau, the guy who does the interiors. God, there's so many amazing covers for Red Sonja. So Red Sonja, Age of Chaos. Make sure you look at the covers. I feel I'm gonna buy 4 or 5 copies of this book.
You're gonna get them all.
Yeah. Vampirella, similar boat. Vampirella having a really unique tale, as we're going to deal in very Christopher Priest style with the African American Vampirella. And the cool thing is it commemorates the contributions of African American creators of color with a special set of variants. Will that affect the stories? It's hard to say. We'll have to, grab a copy. But if you're keeping up the Christopher Reese run, I wouldn't put it off par on that. Some amazing covers by Cohen, Martinez, Beecham. Richardson has a surprise cover I wasn't aware of. And then there's a cosplay with a really wonderful cosplayer. I've seen her work before. She's done a few really cool West Coast shows where I've seen her, and unbelievably fit and amazingly talented cosplayer. And she makes a great Vampirella, I gotta say. She makes probably one of the most skimpily dressed Vampirellas, and that's saying something, but yeah, makes a great Vampirella. So
there's also the Hedrick FOC for that as well.
Oh yeah, the Hedrick one looks beautiful. Yeah, I think that's the only one where we're going to see white Vampirella on this month's issue, but that is a really keen, almost Persian Egyptian kind of look.
I was gonna say, I think she looks like she might be Persian or something.
Yeah, but yeah, it's amazing looking. Yeah, so once again with Vampirella, a lot of great covers. Make sure you go to previewsworld.com/finalordersdue. Click the link in the comments. Take a look at all of them. Tell us if you want a specific cover. You're definitely going to want some of these covers. They're amazing. But let's move on to IDW. We're going to get a director's cut of the Karate Kid Cobra Kai saga. That's a fun one. You've talked a little bit of this, but Matt, you want to kind of reiterate?
It's really just what you've seen in the YouTube show, which is kind of picking up where the original movie left off. Jump ahead forward about 20 years or so, and where the characters are now in modern day life. And this comic book kind of fills in a lot more of that backstory that the YouTube TV series has done, and it's a fantastic read. It's done really well. Among the various covers, they also always do a photo cover, so that looks pretty cool, and that's just straight photos of the cast from the current and old movie. Yeah.
So issue 1, director's cut on FOC, as well as issue number 3. Then I want to point out Marvel Actions, the great all ages line that IDW does of Marvel characters, is got a Doctor Strange number 1 available reprinting. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 103, which I know TMNT has been a huge thing since our Kevin Eastman signing here, so make sure you get your orders in FOC so you can choose your covers. There's a great Kevin Eastman cover that you cannot see yet, but I know it exists, so I'll try and get it in the comments. And then, of course, Star Trek Year 5, issue number 10, perfectly timed, about 2 days after the release of Picard. You want to talk about Year 5?
The Picard episode. Wow. Oof. That was fantastic. This is equally as great. This is the lost season, the season that never aired, technically, basically. Year 5 of the original Star Trek. I've talked it up before. This is fantastic. This is kind of almost to the end of the first half of the main, the series. Which is going to be basically divided into 2 arcs from the way it was explained to us. And so we're getting close to the end of this. And I'm really looking forward to where, how this one wraps up. Because I think issue 12, if I recall, is going to be the big one.
Yeah. Yeah, Kirk's still incapacitated and going into issue 10. That's going to be really interesting. Then we're going to move on to Image. For those of you guys who are loving the Project Christmas, surprise series that Mark Millar put out with Philip, I got to say, American Jesus, New Messiah, really interesting. I'm curious to see the Netflix series that's going to be based on the original, but this prequel-esque story is absolutely amazing. So issue 3 on FOC. Let's see what else.
And those should be hitting soon, because I just saw that the first of the Millar titles have been just finished shooting. So
yeah, On the Stump is a new ongoing series, new ongoing series set in an alternate American history, where presidents are decided by an outright brawl of fists on Trump.
Yeah, this looks like a good one from Image. So
yeah, Chuck Brown doing that. Yeah,
basically it's in 1868 is where we get the split from our current timeline, where a fight in Congress, I believe, is how it was solicited. basically set the tone of how every election is going to be taking place after that, and they actually duke it out to see who becomes president. And I can't think of a better way of doing it.
I mean, at this point in time, I think that's a better election than our attempt at voting. But yeah, Chuck Brown, the writer of Bitter Root, which has already been picked up as a major TV series, so this should give you an eye that if you're going for the speculation aspect, you should be paying attention on the stump right there. Is going to be writing it, and in fact, his Bitter Root ally Sanford Green is going to be doing one of the variant covers on this.
The variants are all going to be connecting.
Yes,
which is going to be cool.
That should be really interesting.
Yeah. So you're in for the set once you start down that road.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have Undiscovered Country, one of the most amazing new Image series, probably since Saga. It has issue number 4 on FOC, as well as a 4th printing of number 1 that has a stunning cover and an amazing 2nd printing of number 3. 2 covers for number 4. Make sure you choose if you want any of those. We have first printings, of course, of all this available, but these alternate covers for later printings are awesome, and the later printings you go, they're going to have smaller print runs, so they're going to get rarer and rarer and rarer, which means that these are variants that start becoming near ratio, if not beyond ratio level. So make sure you get those cover orders in if you want those. Then the big one that takes forever, Marvel.
Never comes out with anything.
Yeah.
You get in 2020 Machine Man number 1 of 2. So this is definitely going to obviously spin out of the Iron Man 2020 series. I can't imagine it not.
Yeah, Christos Gage, who is writing that, is going to be also co-writing this with Tom DeFalco. We get to deal with everyone's favorite. Machine Man, it's not everyone's favorite. No one likes Machine Man.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, so Machine Man is back. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. It's a 2-issue miniseries, but if you're liking Iron Man 2020, you should probably hop on this, especially because it's co-written by one of the writers of Iron Man 2020. Going on, I will remind everyone that for the month of February, the theme of Marvel variants is Gwen Stacy covers, leading to the new Gwen Stacy ongoing miniseries that'll be coming out. So Amazing Mary Jane has a great Gwen Stacy B cover by Rodriguez, and it's just the cutest thing of Gwen and Mary having fun together. Atlantis Attacks, it's issue 2. I love issue 1 to death. If you were reading Agents of Atlas, you need to read Atlantis Attacks. If you like Namor and what's been happening with Jason Aaron's Avengers run, you need to read Atlantis Attacks. If you like Namor in general, John Lopez, who's watching, you got to read Atlantis Attacks. Actually, we have it in your pull. Don't worry about that. But yeah, Atlantis Attacks looks really, really cool, and the Chinese New Year cover is just stunning.
Yeah, that's a cool one. And I was going to actually point out that Mona. I don't know who Mona is, but this cover is freaking cool.
Yeah, that's Arrow on the cover. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's absolutely cool. But I was going to point out that the other themed variant covers are the Chinese New Year's, because they actually have several of them for this solicit and I think next week's as well.
Well, welcome to the Year of the Rat. Should be interesting. Let's see. Avengers is finally getting second printings on issue 29, as we get closer to that reveal of who was the new Star brand. It's out there. It's going to be big in 30 this week. Captain America, of course, has a great Gwen Stacy cover that's actually ridiculously cute. Captain Marvel, it's issue 15 with 3 covers. You get a Gwen Stacy cover. You, of course, get the amazing In-Hyuk Lee cover that has been connecting across this current storyline of The Last Avenger, and then you have the Mark Brooks cover on the main. You got to buy all 3 covers. You just got to.
I like on the Gwen Stacy one. She's wearing her original old school costume.
Yeah, which is actually the Miss Marvel costume, but it's fitting because Gwen wasn't alive for a Captain Marvel.
Yeah. I think there's actually also a Chinese New Year one as well for that.
And God, I'm going to buy 4 covers.
Artist?
No, that's Zili Yu.
But the style is very similar.
Yeah, it might just be a theme amongst, like when manhwa starts getting on a theme, I notice it stays really, really hard. So it could just be a theme amongst Chinese artists at the moment. That is beautiful.
That's another cool one.
That is an amazing.
These might be the Chinese New Year's ones. Honestly, if you're just collecting off of just putting together a set or some kind of speculation of sets and things like that, this might be the one to go with over the Gwen Stacy one.
I'm not gonna lie,
they are cool.
Yeah, I mean,
and very different.
I'm torn because I love Gwen Stacy, but yeah, you're not wrong on that. These look amazing, so could be a fun one. Pay attention to these. These are not ones to sleep on. Tell us you need the covers. Big one. I'm super excited about it. All right, here we go. This is a long time coming. Conan the Barbarian number 13 is finally on FOC. This is the start of Jim Zub writing it, and my favorite thing is it's the start of local comic artist and customer of Knowhere Games and Comics, EM Gist, just super jazzed he is doing these covers. They look amazing, so make sure you take a look at this cover, get your orders in. Eric is already confirmed he will be down to do a signing. It'll probably happen towards the end of April or May. We just got to set things down in stone, but these covers look amazing. Conan at his best, because you cannot get better than Jim Zub, the master of Dungeons and Dragons, writing anything fantasy. I'm super hyped on this. I mean...
Yeah, and if you haven't been reading the Conan series, this is a perfect jumping on point because it is a completely new story arc. And this is definitely going to go in a different direction that we have not seen Conan go in before. So he's traveling further east of this border than he's ever been. He is in a new land that he's never been to, unfamiliar with the language, and he faces this great crucible. And I'm excited.
Yeah, so we're expanding the Hyborian map is another big thing there. So for you Edgar Rice Burroughs fans, this is world changing for you.
And the cover art is very vintage as well.
Eric is amazing at this stuff. He draws this shit and makes Frazetta look like he should be, questioning his own.
Whoa.
I got to see. All right, here's the thing. So I got to see the cover for, I believe it was issue number 16 this morning when Eric was in here. I wish I could describe
16
to you.
or 15? I thought you said it was 15.
It might have been 15.
I'm not going to.
No, I think it was 16. It was 16.
Artwork is phenomenal.
Yeah. There is. I will say there's some swords in there, and it is Eric's best work I've ever seen. It looks amazing.
It's one hell of a compliment to put him right up there with Frazetta.
Dude, have you looked? Since he's been doing Strain, it's been amazing.
And it's because it has that complete old Frazetta vintage feel on this cover. So
yeah, it's really cool that we have an Encinitas local comic creator that just draws these things. Like he's been doing Strain, Haunted Mansion. He's doing the main cover for issue number 4 of the Star Wars Kylo Ren miniseries. His work is amazing. It's definitely grab his stuff when you can, while you can, and then swing by the signing. It's going to be big. And he's the most gracious and wonderful human being. I love him when he's in here. So and the cool thing, if you bump into him here in the store, he'll sign your stuff. He's really wonderful about that.
And you got Daredevil 18. Just saying, it's a great read. You got to get on it. If you're not reading it,
wish I could say something about Daredevil right now.
I was gonna say the Gwen Stacy one's got the old yellow outfit.
Old yellow outfit like you see in Daredevil #1.
Yeah,
I wish I could say something about that.
I haven't seen that book in forever.
Yeah, I haven't seen that book since like 20 minutes ago. So moving on, Deadpool #3. Deadpool, continuing Kelly Thompson's run. I'm loving this. If you haven't been getting it, you need to be getting it. We have issues 1 and 2 in stock. Do not miss out. It is fun. It is the best Deadpool has been since the old days of Joe Kelly. Yeah, really. We're getting later printings of Excalibur and Fallen Angels. Let's see what else. Guardians of the Galaxy #2, big one. If you were not grabbing Alley Wings, you read Alley Wings #1.
I loved it. I can't wait.
It was unbelievable.
I'm torn. I might have.
I gotta say, it's almost. I'm gonna say it. I thought it was better than Donny Cates.
So
it's a huge
it's got me
statement.
Like I'm hooked. So we'll see if it gets better.
I'm gonna really quickly point out, just because it's my favorite of the Dawn of X titles, Marauders #8 is on FOC, and Marauders has been absolutely amazing every step of the way. Best Dawn of X book. Best Dawn of X book. Yeah. You get the wrap-up of Marvel's Black Widow Prelude. So if you guys are going to the movie and you're not reading the Prelude comics, these Prelude comics are always amazing, add a lot to the film. Issue #1's in stock right now. Grab issue #2 on FOC.
I'm always excited when these hit, just because that means the movie is just right around the corner.
Yeah. Marvel's Voices is going to be a unique one-shot. If you really want to see more variation in the ethnicities and genders and representation you see in comics, this is a big one. Marvel's Voices is going to be an anthology issue that is going to feature a lot of major representation in here. It's not only on representation of the characters depicted, but the races of those who are creating them. So you have wonderful artists like Vida Ayala. They are an amazing African-American. You have Brian Stelfreeze, an amazing black male artist. And many, many more other people hopping in on this as we get something that comes from the critically acclaimed podcast, focusing on telling these stories of diverse characters and creations, but also deals with diverse characters. Everybody from Nick Fury Jr., Killmonger, Moon Girl, and Devil Dinosaur, who we haven't seen literally in months, actually over a year, especially, which is weird considering a TV series is about to be made for them.
Yep.
A lot of big things there. $5 large anthology.
Like I've always said, it's not any by mistake that they suddenly start reappearing in comic books.
Yeah. So a lot of fun ones there, some great variants. You're definitely going to want to get those involved.
Let's see.
Wait,
is that a new Spider-Man? Go back up one more. Spider-Man 4 of 5.
Yes.
There's the J.J. Abrams
Yeah, get your orders finalized. That has been selling out every issue.
We need to get fantastic read.
Second printing for Star. If you really want a good reality gem cover, that's there.
The big one has to be the one I've been waiting for,
Wolverine. There you go.
Gets his solo series.
First solo character Dawn of X book.
Yep, and he's back. He's got his own book. I'm excited. Ben Percy is writing the X-Force title.
Yeah, which is, I believe, his favorite Dawn of X book.
Yeah.
And he also wrote the great Green Arrow run at DC.
Yes, and so Wolverine's in good hands. This is going to be fantastic. He also did The Long Night, which was the adaptation.
I didn't realize that, actually. That was a really cool one, yeah.
That was fantastic. I actually really enjoyed the podcast for that. That was phenomenal.
You got Adam Kubert, Joe Kubert's son, doing the artwork. Adam Kubert, I shouldn't even have to affiliate that he's Joe Kubert's son. Adam Kubert has earned his name as legend doing X-Men and Avengers in the past. He is brilliant. So make sure that you get your orders in on that.
And as if that's not enough, the return of Omega Red.
Ooh. I hope to God that's not something they choose to resurrect on Krakoa, but we'll see.
And we're going to have to start jamming through this because I think you're about to lose battery here.
Yeah, well, that was the last major Marvel book, so let's dive into the indies. Once again, we have the fun of Absolute constantly leaving things on their Final Order Cutoff that are never actually on Final Order Cutoff, so you can ignore most of those, I hate to say, but, eventually George will make boys cry as he gets his order in.
He does
Archie meets the B-52s. Archie is known for doing crossovers that are wonderful with great major musicians and bands. This will be a fun one. A lot of great covers there, so make sure you get your orders in on that.
Blade Runner hits issue 6. Blade Runner 2019 hits issue 6, and we got a great new Mead cover.
Yeah, Sid Mead, long deserving, and
so these are going to be his final artwork pieces, and it looks like they're continuations or alterations of the scenes that he depicted in the first 4 or 5 issues. So that was actually kind of a cool little thing to notice.
Yeah, Bloodshot, oddly enough, is getting a 0 issue just in time because we just got a new trailer for the movie. It's going to be a very eye-popping new solo story, but is written by Tim Seeley, the main series regular. So if you haven't hopped into Bloodshot, perfect chance to hop in and grab that fun. Then we also have Dr. Tomorrow, another major Valiant one I'm super excited about. When a young teenage kid finds out he is the greatest superhero of the near future, it's going to make for a very interesting twist. I'm super hyped on this. We actually have a really great Dr. Tomorrow baseball on display in here. I really want to see where it goes. I'm super excited, especially with Kenneth Rockefort on artwork. So make sure you get your orders in on that one. Let's see what else we got.
It's a bunch of the stuff that's been on there for a long time.
Yeah, Kevin Eastman, Totally Twisted Tales, as well as the Pirate trade paperback that reprints the Craig Yo chosen best Golden Age pirate stories, are once again on there, so you can make sure you get a really great deal getting those for $12.99. Lola XOXO, my favorite post-apocalyptic story.
If you liked Plot, a black and white deluxe edition of Plot number 1.
Yeah, that's actually a really good, great horror story if you want that. Rags, once again, as I mentioned last week, is on its 6th issue on Final Order Cutoff of a Marine who is basically running around the zombie apocalypse pretty much damn near naked. Spirit gets its 80th anniversary trade.
Visitor hits issue 3 of 6.
And
we're getting close to the end there.
Zoo Hunters, which I mentioned last week, also it's issue number 5 on FOC again.
Yeah.
But hopefully it'll actually go on FOC this time. I really have waited for Zoo Hunters then for a while. But those are the comics that are on FOC. So make sure you give me your orders of any quantities or covers that you want by Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I can guarantee that you will get them that way. You can either email us, call us, swing in and give us, your actual request directly, or message us in the comments or here on Facebook. We will get that taken care of you. As we're about to lose our phone's battery service, thank you all for watching.
Have a good night.
All right, we'll see you on Wednesday with the new comics.